ano na? So, ikaw hinihintay, Zay?
No, okay na, live na siya. I love that. Yes. So good.
How do I share this?
So good.
How do I share this?
Why can't I?
Share. Help me.
Why can't I hear?
So, ikaw hinihintay, Zay?
No, okay na, live na siya. Jeez, is the frame rate really bad?
Oh, look at the picture. That is so cute.
Oh god.
Take your towel off so you can turn your camera on.
I'm stressing. I keep misspelling.
Oh my god. Hello, cute. Oh my god, okay. Shit. Okay, so good evening po mga ka-Philo Talks. Ako po si Teresa Danao, but you can call me Teddy, and I will be one of your hosts for this episode of the Omilia series. And of course, nandito po ako with my very special partner. Partner, pakilala ka naman. Okay. So, for those who are new to Omilia, Omilia is a staple activity basically of PhilSoc. We usually conduct it inside the university, but of course, because there's a pandemic, we're doing the best we can online. Our aim is to provide a venue wherein we can introduce philosophy, educate ourselves collectively about pressing issues and relevant topics, and conduct a healthy discourse for everyone, which can hopefully bring us together to better versions of our thoughts, beliefs, and practices. So, Kuya Jeko, what makes this particular episode of Omilia different from the other episodes? Okay, so to keep our philosophical discussion organized, even though it's informal, syempre, we don't, ayaw natin magkagulo. We devised a system that makes sure that we all get our turn to speak and be heard as well. So, simply put, if you want to say something, like if you want to answer the question or you want to respond to what somebody else said, all you have to do is press the raise hand button, which, if I'm not mistaken, should appear if naka-display sa inyo yung, the chat or the participants? Yung participants part of Zoom. So you click that, and then your name will be added to a list of speakers, which will be kept by Zai. And then you wait your turn to speak, and then you get to speak. We also hope that everybody will remain charitable and polite and kind to one another, because even though this is an informal discussion, of course, it's still best to treat each other well, diba? Especially when it comes to views of ours that we might find out hindi pala nagkakasundo. So, be nice to each other. Yun lang po. So true. Grabe, extreme sport. Okay. Yes. Okay. Ala, okay. Getting to know you face. Okay, so, ako po si Teddy. I'm actually one of the few members of the organization that is not a philo major. I'm taking, veterinary medicine at UPLB. And my background in philosophy is mostly from high school. And from, honestly, bata pa lang ako, I already was interested in philosophy. So it's really a lifelong interest for me. I never lost my love for it my whole life. So even if it's not my major, I still make it a point to make philosophy part of my life, which is why I joined the Philosoph, even though it's not like I don't formally study philosophy. It's more like philosophy is a way of life for me, because since I don't study it formally, a lot of the time the things that I think about, the things that I philosophize about, have to do with things that I need to apply in my life. So I don't just think about philosophy, I also like to make it a point to live the philosophy that I think about. Ikaw, no, what's your background? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Wala kayo, isa-isahin kayo.
Whew.
Same. Thank you, Ate Kai. Who shall I target? Sino ba? I think I wanna get to know Fire. Is Fire here? She's here, diba? SF Manangit. Fire, are you there? Hello? Yon! Okay, hi Fire. Introduce yourself. Yeah. Thank you, Fire. Okay, no. Go out. Who's next? Dahil ang lupit ng background niya, I think we should see what Rainier thinks. So, Rainier, introduce yourself. Oh. Alam, cute ng background ni Ate Kai. Thank you, Rainier. Nung try ka natin non-philo sock member,
Member.
meron
Meron
tao,
Sige,
tayo,
ikaw.
guest,
diba?
diba?
Yeah, yeah.
Ikaw,
Ikaw na, who do you think
thank
is...
you, Rainier.
Um,
Nung try ka natin non-philo
sige, let's try to get to know Francia. Do I say it right, Francia? Tama ba?
Who do you think is...
Tama daw. Naka-mute pa ata siya. Wait.
How do you...
Ayan.
Hi.
Hello, is it okay to ask you? Okay lang ba?
Yes.
Okay lang naman. Ayaw mo. Sige, so
Yeah, I'm
how are
here
you?
to explore, so I'm fine. But
Mhm.
yeah, right. I'm not from Philosoph, but I am very grateful that you've let me in. And yes, I'm actually a lost soul. So hearing from all those introductions, I am actually a political science major,
Mm.
and I'm thinking of shifting to philosophy, but I still need some kind of a nudge.
Oh.
So I'm here. Maybe I can get that here. Maybe.
Yeah.
So, yes. And yeah, well, so introduction to philosophy. Well, actually, so I was taking up a philo course, of course, like it's mandatory for us in
Mhm.
political science, so philo 1. And then that's it. I fell in love with it. And later on, I started to do my own research. And also, I just wanted to continue that, but I was still in denial and I stayed in my course. But now I'm getting there. So hopefully, this will be the nudge that I need. So that's all.
Well, I hope you get what you need from us. I hope you eventually make a decision. But I think that your love for philosophy will go somewhere, even if you don't decide to shift. And Omilia is a series, so if ever you want more nudges, we have more philosophical discussions that you can
Yes.
participate in. It will always be open to you.
Yep. So you can join us every episode.
Yes.
Thank
Ayan. So next.
Thank you so much.
Okay, who else wants to introduce themselves? Sino ba ba dito yung... do we have any other? Oh, I like Aris's hair. So I think we should ask Aris to introduce himself. Aris is disappointed in me. I'm sorry, Aris.
Hi. So, yeah, ako si Aristotle Baluyat. I am from UPLB Philo major and also a member of Philosoph. Bakit ba ako nag-Philo? I don't know. Naghahanap ako ng arts courses sa UPLB kasi apparently kailangan ng 4 choices. And then, sinelect ko yung Philo and then yung social kasi hindi ko naman nakikita yung sarili ko sa sciences. And then, nung lumabas yung UCAT results sa mismong araw ng graduation ko from senior high school, napag-alaman ko na, yeah, nakapasa ako ng UPLB. Like, never kong in-encounter yung possibility na mag-philo student ako. So, nung nalaman ko yun ay biglang nagkaroon ng super completely new plan sa college life ko. Siguro, part of me wants to become a lawyer someday, but parang ang pinaka naging drive ko talaga ngayon ay gusto ko talaga mag-philosophize lang kasi like I have a lot of questions in my life. I think that philo before was the best course for me to do that. So I entered philo sa academic program. And now, I am super happy that I made the right choice because I have philo really helps me to really have a new perspective about things, not just social issues, but also personal problems and personal dilemmas that I currently have. So I'm hoping, since narinig ko kanina si Francia, if that's how you pronounce your name, I'm hoping na maging katulad ka namin or maging
Yeah.
katulad ka ng philo students kasi philo is really a great discipline and a really great degree program. Medyo underrated lang siya pero once you able to get a taste of it, I'm sure na magiging unstoppable na yung philosophizing mo. Yeah. Yun lang.
Thank you, Aris. I'm really glad to hear that most of the people who are talking about the way that they study philosophy being the right decision. It's really nice to hear that people are where they want to be, no?
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah, because not everybody gets to have that. And I just want to say I'm really happy that the people who have introduced themselves so far are happy with where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ayun. So next, Ryan, are you ready to share? Pakilala ka naman sa amin.
Ayan, hello po sa inyong lahat. So, bali ako po si Ryan Dave Cabriag. So, incoming junior student na rin po ako sa UPLB, BA Philosophy. Ano po. So, ito yung kwento ko about kung paano ako napunta sa philosophy. So, actually, yung nakalagay po sa OPCAT form ko is puro engineering. Like, first, dito sa UPLB is electrical, second is mechanical, and third is industrial. So, wala po talagang philosophy. And then sa diliman po is doon ko sana, parang ang nilagay ko is political science. Kasi gusto ko rin mag-law. Pero gusto ko mag-law na hindi ko alam na nag-i-exist yung philosophy as itinuturing na pre-law. So ayun po, bali nakapasa ako ng UPLB pero degree program with available slot. Ayun. So bali nagtanong po ako sa kakilala ko doon kung anong magandang pang pre-law. Ang yung nabanggit po nila is sociology, tsaka, tama, sociology, tsaka philosophy. So, nakakatuwa, pero yung, nagpumili ako hindi dahil gusto ko yung isa doon sa isa, kundi dahil yung philosophy yung nauna doon sa choices. Yun yung nakakatawang experience ko doon. Ano pa? Tapos, pero may konting knowledge ako sa philosophy. I mean, kung ano siya sa course. Ang alam ko is parang prelude lang siya to being a priest. Ganon. Yun yung idea ko and not parang hindi siya pang law talaga. Ayun. So, ayun, napinili ko yung philosophy. And I think tama yung sinabi ni Teddy na sobrang tamang desisyon. Yung pagpili ko sa philosophy kasi it really changed my life. Parang kasi dito ako na open dito ako na open na especially about sa when we are talking about gender. Like kasi nung high school ako is sobrang toxic ng ng culture nung high school like sa masculinity, sa misogyny, sobrang na-expose ako doon and sobrang thankful ko na sa philosophy din na parang na-expose ako na for example ang gender is a spectrum and not binary, which is yun yung doon ako namulat nung high school. Kaya sobrang thankful ko sa philosophy na ngayon is nakatulong na rin ako sa ibang tao sa pag-advise. Yun lang po. So, yun lang.
Yay. Thank you,
Thank
Ryan.
you.
Actually, tama yung sinabi ni Ryan, no? Ako, to be honest, through philosophy din, I was able to reconcile the contradiction that I had before with my sexuality and my religion. So through philosophy, I was able na mas maintindihan yung gender and sexuality ko, pati na din yung gender and sexuality as a discipline itself. So ayun, isa din yan sa natulong sa akin ng philosophy. So Teddy, sinong gusto mong sunod na magsalita?
Sino ang next victim natin? I think I know who I want to speak. Zai! Zai, come on, introduce
Yes.
yourself.
The man behind the Zoom.
So yeah,
Share ko lang, Zai is our one-man tech team. He manages
Yes.
the stream and he's the one who, basta marami siyang ginagawa, but he's just one person. So I'm very proud of him for that. Kwento ko lang, Zai actually didn't even want to go to Philosoc's orientation. Kasi we're housemates. So I was about to leave the house kasi pupunta ako sa orientation ng Philosoc. And then there he is. I was gonna go to Philosoc's orientation. Tapos sabi ko kay Zai, Zai, sama ka, there's gonna be free dinner. Syempre, I used the free dinner card to get him to go with me. Sabi niya, ayoko, may ulam naman sa bahay, ganyan, ganyan, ganyan. Sabi ko, but we're gonna have it at, what was the name of the restaurant? Entablado, which is one of our favorite restaurants. Kasi dali na, sa
Yeah.
Entablado naman. And then by the end of the orientation, he was like, hala, I think I wanna join. Napaka-effective ng orientation ng Philosoph. Ayun, share ko lang.
Okay, so next, let's talk to Sam. Hi, Sam.
Gulat siya eh.
Hello po, I just got here. Sorry.
Ayun, introduce mo naman sarili mo, Sam. So, course mo, ganon. How were you introduced to philosophy?
Okay, I am Samantha Lugtu from batch 18 of BA Philosophy from UPLB. And I'm also a member of Philosoc. So how did I get into philosophy? Nung nag-apply ako for UPCAT, so Diliman was my first choice, but hindi ako nakapasa sa Diliman, so sa LB. And I never saw myself in the science field. So, ang choices ko lang naman ay yung mga BA, and the only BA options in UPLB were Socio, Philo, Com Arts, ganyan, ganyan. So, my first choice was philosophy just because nung senior high ako, I got really good grades sa philo class namin. Like, parang yun yung pinakamataas kong grade, kaya yun yung finner's choice ko. Tapos, nung nakapasa na lang ako sa UP, parang nagulat na lang ako na philo yung naging course ko kasi hindi ko talaga natandaan na may nilagay pa akong philo, ganun. Kasi, personally, I am not really into philosophy, ganun. Parang hindi ako philo person because I find it weird to talk about parang extra things, parang things that are so arbitrary that other people would not talk about in a normal setting, ganun. And, pero, habang tumagal, parang, yun yung naging charm ng philo for me na parang natutunan ko makisali sa mga diskurso na for others, parang hindi naman normal pag-usapan, pero it's really necessary and important to talk about. Yeah. Yun lang.
Natutuwa ako sa shinare ni Sam kasi sobrang totoo niya. Like it's a true story and a true struggle. Kasi aminin natin minsan sa mga other friends natin when we talk about things that we talk in philosophy, parang ako personally minsan nagdadalawang isip ako ganon, or basta parang hindi siya like parang weird, parang pag-usapan siya kapag sa other friends ko na hindi naman into philosophy. Pero ayun, parang may something na ganon. I don't know about others, pero sa akin may ganon talaga with my other friends. Parang I can't get into those topics kasi parang ayun nga, sabi ni Sam, medyo weird siya minsan pag-usapan. Ayun, for other people. But I think the reason for it is not really because it's weird to talk about philosophy in normal setting. I think it's because hindi lang normalize na mag-usap about those topics, which I think dapat nating i-normalize yung mga philosophical discussion, yung mga philosophical topics na kahit na nasa inuman tayo. I mean, we people here, we do that, no? Kahit nasa LB Square tayo, kahit nasa inuman tayo, no? Nasa lunch tayo, simpleng lunch lang or simpleng kainan, no? We talk about those things. And ako, I hope someday it's something naman normalized sa iba pang tao. Ganun. Ayun. So, Tadi, ikaw, sinong next nating i-invite to introduce themselves?
Who is this? This is a person I don't know. Si John Chua? Is John Chua there?
Hi, John.
Hello, John. Do you want to talk or do you just want to stay quiet? Okay lang naman. Kasi if you don't want to introduce yourself, that's fine. You can say so and we won't force you.
Walang mic.
I see. Walang mic. Sino pa? Who else can we ask to introduce themselves? What about Marian? I think, si Marian.
Hello, narinig ba ako?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My name is Marian. I'm an incoming sophomore in UPLB. Taking a philosophy rin, and I'm a member of Philosoc. I'm a member of the events committee. And prior college, I took up HUMS, so Humanities and Social Sciences. And I wanted to take like a course more on the humanities. So, actually, dream course ko philo kasi parang, I don't know, I feel like it's something na I chose kasi philosophize a lot. Parang I feel like it would help me, it could determine a lot of things in my life in the future, ganon. And as a matter of fact, I wanted to be a lawyer rin. Tapos, parang it's a win-win situation rin sa ganon. Parang, so yun, I wanted to take philosophy and ayun, I joined Philosoc in UPLB. So yun, that's how I got into philosophy and Philosoc.
Yay, thank you. I'm just, even though Zai is right, we're kind of all broken records. I'm just, wala lang, nakakatuwa that we're happy where we are. Yeah. Broken record ko na rin. I think John Chua wants to say something kahit wala siyang mic. So I'll just read it out from the chat. Okay lang ba yun?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so this is what John Chua says. It all started noong grade 9 ako. Got interested sa history, tapos related siya sa political philosophy. I have read about the days of Mesopotamia hanggang Cold War. Along the way, napadaan ako sa Plato's Republic, Hobbes' Leviathan, Marx, pati kay John Locke at, oh my god, I can't pronounce it, Montesquieu.
Rescue.
Montesquieu. I'm so sorry, I'm not a philo major. Existentialism, nadaanan ko rin. Camus and Kierkegaard. Ooh, I like Camus and Kierkegaard. Share ko lang. So, yun yung background ni John Chua. Apparently, it started in grade 9. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing with us.
A lot of philosophers actually.
Yeah, that's a lot of philosophers.
Ayun.
Okay, nang sino next?
I think na-cover na natin lahat. I see Francisco, sabi niya, hindi siya makakapag-participate pa as of now. So
Okay.
later na lang daw. So I think that covers everyone.
Oh yeah, oo nga, no? I'm looking at
Mhm.
this. I think everybody's.
Okay. So with that, Taddy, I think kanina pa tayo nag-uusap with philosophy and everything. No? Pero siguro for the sake of our viewers or kung meron man dito na not familiar enough with philosophy, I think it's appropriate and timely right now to talk about ano pa yung filosofiya, no? What is it, no, in the first place? So is there anyone who would like to share, no?
Yes, from the audience. What is philosophy to you? That's, to be fair to you guys, that is a big question. And even though I've spent a lot of time philosophizing, not even I know the answer, really. I just have my own.
Yeah.
But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think philosophy is?
Yeah.
Mga
Sa
philo
ating
majors.
sa mga philo majors dyan, ano sa tingin nyo yung philosophy?
I'm looking at you, Ate Kai.
Ayun, nagtaas siya ng kamay. Go, Kyla.
Yay!
Okay, so for the sake of everyone, parang I don't want to make it too formal. And kasi, parang pride ko na rin as an incoming senior na ang dami ko na nalagpasan na courses. I think, for me, like, philosophy is a way of thinking. Kasi it's not necessarily kasi a field of knowledge that is very certain and very stoic and very yung naka-stay put lang in one area. Kasi hindi siya ganun. Parang philosophy is a way of thinking about the certain questions you have about the universe, about knowledge itself. Like basically, actually, one of the core topics that I'm really interested in is epistemology. And it's basically an inquiry into how we know what we know. And yun nga, parang philosophy is a way of thinking that can try to get to the answers as close as possible to questions you have. So yun nga, di ba, it started with ancient and ano ba yung nangyari sa nature, what is nature composed of, and then we have medieval philosophy, and then which questions yung mga which questions the nature of God, and is there a higher power, a higher being? And then you go to modern, and then you get to questions that are more impacted into society. And basically, yun nga, no, parang in all of that, basically nagiging timeline siya of events, of a way of thinking, of people who were prominent in their time. And yun nga, philosophy is a great reflection of society and how society progresses and ano ba yung pinaprioritize ng mga tao. Kaya yes, that's my answer to that.
Okay. Thank you, Kai. So, yung iba ba, may other people ba who wants to share
I
about
think may sinabi si John Chua sa chat. Should we read it out loud?
Yes, sige. Let's hear it.
John Chua said that for him, philosophy is answering questions with more questions. I like that definition because, to me, because I'm in the sciences, I'm very aware of the stark difference between the sciences and yung mga BA courses like philosophy, because Ayun nga, katulad ng sabi ni Ate Kai, philosophy is not a stagnant thing. While what I study formally, science, is very certain of most things. So to me, everything that is in the field of what you don't really have answers for, anything that's uncertain, anything you're unsure of, to me, that's what philosophy asks questions about. So ayun, gusto ko lang sabihin, I agree with John Chua's definition of what philosophy is.
Yeah, totoo yan. Actually, na-remind lang din ako sa laging sinasabi sa amin ng isang favorite professor ko, no, in UPLB, no, sa feminist philosophy. I remember every time during the first few days namin sa feminist philosophy with Ma'am Margaret Taganas. Hi Ma'am, if you're watching. Ayun, sabi ni Ma'am, no, she would always remind us um, na it's okay to to share no our thoughts our opinions ganon, or it's okay then to have more questions, no, aside or instead of answers, no, in philosophy, no. Tapos from that I would realize, no, later on from what Ma'am Marga was telling us, na tama naman, no, it's better to have questions that would bring us, I mean right questions that would bring us to correct answers, kesa naman, no, we become stuck with answers, no, definite answers na hindi naman pala tama, no, and we just stayed with it kasi hindi tayo nagtanong. So ayun, is there anyone else who would like to share about kung ano yung philosophy for them as a discipline, as a field, or not just personally, no, yung personal take nyo with philosophy? Ayun, sabi ni Kai sa chat, no, sabi daw ay ni Professor Abog, no, which is also our member sa Philosophy, answering questions, questioning the answers, and questioning the questions themselves. Yan daw yung philosophy.
Ang ganda. Oy, I think Ao has something to say. Yes, Ao, go. How do I unmute?
Actually, what I'm gonna say isn't that different to what other people, what the others have defined what philosophy is. I'm just gonna use like the simplest term na ginamit ng professor ko nung senior high school. And this professor is actually the reason kung bakit kasama ang philo sa listahan ko for UPCAT. So he called philosophy as the practice where you wonder while you wonder. It's actually wordplay, but it makes sense because philosophy makes you wonder, and it keeps you wondering over answers. Tapos you wonder trying to find those answers, and even when you find those answers, you still end up wondering about those answers. So yun, I believe philosophy for me is just those three words. It's wondering and wondering. It's an infinite cycle of wondering and wondering.
Ang ganda nun. Very concise. Very succinct. Beautiful.
Yeah. Si Ryan daw, gusto mag-share ni Ryan. Go Ryan.
Ayun, parang supplement lang din sa mga nasabi, kasi one of the reasons why philosophy existed talaga is about curiosity. Kasi parang nag-exist na naman yung studies kahit noon pa about sa empiricism, sa mga nag-exist na nakita natin ng five senses. Pero it's actually also important to study yung metaphysics, yung kung ano yung beyond physical na nag-exist dito sa world. So that's very important. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Iba pa ba?
Yeah, does anyone else want to say anything? Floor is still open.
Yeah. So, siguro kung wala na, no, Teddy, I'll just give siguro a more academic answer to that question. No? To be fair, philosophy can be defined loosely as like a study or a field of a study about everything. Kasi to be fair naman, totoo naman na everything no, can be philosophical, no? Or we can talk about everything here on earth philosophically. No? Pero ayun, kung i-define man natin yung philosophy as an academic field, I remember watching before yung isang episode ng Rappler sa YouTube. It was an episode na yung pangalan ng show ay Pasagan ng Trip. I forgot kung sino yung host. Pero yeah, one episode of that thing sa YouTube ng Rappler was that the topic was about fields or courses na ayaw daw i-take ng mga estudyante, no? Kasi wala masyadong pera, gano'n, wala masyadong trabaho doon, gano'n. And one courses that was tackled there was philosophy. And I remember J.J. Joaquin, which is the president of the Philosophical Association of the Philippines, defining philosophy there as a field which talks about what exists and how things that exist. So yan yung tinatawag ni Ryan kanina na metaphysics. And then another thing is when we know that there are things that exist, how do we know now about those things? Or how do we know that those things exist? And thus there goes our second field of philosophy, which is epistemology, or the study of knowledge, no, or how we know things. And lastly, now that we know that there are things that exist, and that now that we know how we know those things, no, the last part will be the value, no, yung usapin ng value ng mga bagay na yon. So that can be in terms of the beauty, no, yung aesthetics ng mga bagay na yon, or value in terms of the good and bad, which leads us to ethics, no. So basically, sabi doon, philosophy has three major fields, which are metaphysics, epistemology, and axiology, no, or yung usapin ng value ng mga bagay. Ayun. So, pero of course, hindi lang naman yun yung fields of philosophy. Later on, syempre marami pang fields ng philosophy such as, ayun nga, feminist philosophy, merong philosophy of language, merong philosophy of science, merong halos lahat. Maraming fields of philosophy. So, ayun. Now that na-define na natin yung philosophy, Teddy. So, how would you like to proceed with our discussion tonight?
I think it would be best to ask another question about philosophy. So I'd like to ask the people in our discussion, since we all have basic, at least, ako basic lang yung knowledge ko, but we all at least have a rudimentary understanding of philosophy. I want to ask people, who is your favorite philosopher and why? Like, what are some of their best ideas that made you love them? I think some people already have some philosophers in their mind and some great ideas that they want to talk about. I see the smiles there. So who wants to speak first? Anyone? Share ko lang, I don't have a favorite philosopher. I just feel like I don't know enough of philosophy to have a sure decision about who my favorite philosopher is. So I don't think I have one. So ayun, yun yung sagot ko. I don't have a favorite philosopher. So does anyone want to talk?
Sige, well, everyone siguro is, ayun, si Kai.
Yay, Ate Kai.
Hi, so ako na naman. So, recently, actually hindi siya recently, parang I think some of you know this na, pero ang favorite ko talaga ay si Simone de Beauvoir. Because, I don't know, parang about learning, parang I learned about her through the feminist philosophy subject, kahit di man siya natapos, pero I've actually read her writing, and it's parang one of her most striking quotes to me, parang yung pinaka niya, philosophy niya is yung all oppression creates a state of war. And parang sobrang, I think right now, sobrang, it's a very vital thing to remember kasi it's very applicable. Diba? All oppression creates war. And yun nga, parang she's such an icon in the feminist existentialist branch of philosophy. And as a woman myself, parang it's nice to see a role model that I can look up to, such as Simone. Kasi, yun nga, one of the problems we've tackled before is that we can't really name a lot of female philosophers. Like, if you really think about it, sobrang male-dominated ang philosophy. And Simone is one of those people who are really out there with Sartre and with all of the contemporary philosophers who just spread out this idea na kailangan natin ng feminism, kailangan natin ng equality, and we need to end oppression. Kaya I think for now, that's my answer to the question.
Yay! Thanks, Ate Ka. That's a really good answer.
Mm-hmm.
What is like? I really like that idea. Yung idea that oppression creates a state of war. Tama ba? It's so relevant, diba? Especially now that the pandemic is really exposing all of the oppression that's going on in Philippine society.
Mm-hmm.
Share ko lang. Okay, I think I have something to say. I just thought of a philosopher that I like. Does the Buddha count as a philosopher? Counted ba siya?
I think so. Yes.
I wouldn't say that the Buddha is my favorite philosopher like of all time. When it comes to Eastern philosophy, siya yung gusto ko talaga because I really like the concept in Buddhism, and I also noticed that this is also a concept in Hinduism of non-duality, wherein it's the idea that we are one with the universe and separation is an illusion. And one of the best ideas that I got from Hinduism and Buddhism is the concept of Indra's net, wherein wherein they describe the universe as this magnificent net, like a spider web, covered in morning dew. And the thing about morning dew is that it's reflective. And all the morning dew is at like the intersections kung saan nagme-meet yung strings of the web. And apparently, the intersections at which the lines of the web meet represent consciousness. So this is the soul of a person, the soul of a spider, the soul of anything that has a consciousness. And if you look at the spider web, all of the dewdrops reflect one another. We can see ourselves in every other consciousness in the universe. And we only exist by virtue of our connection to these things that exist outside of ourselves. Because there is no such thing as outside of ourselves. There's only the universe, and the universe is within us. And that concept is just so mind-blowing to me because my views are very influenced by Western philosophers because very Western dominated yung philosophical education ko so far. So to hear these very outlandish seeming beliefs from the East was so eye-opening for me. So that's all I had to say.
Tama yun, Tad. Totoo yun na considered philosopher yun kasi you will really encounter them when you take, at least in UPLB, no, Chinese philosophy. So merong Chinese philosophy in UPLB. Ayun. So yung iba ba, may other gusto bang mag-share about their favorite philosophers?
I think Francia Oy wants to share her favorite philosopher, but she has to go, so she just said it in the chat. So she says, before I go, mine is Jean-Paul Sartre. And then I can't read the next part that she chatted. Nakita niyo ba sa chat yung chinat niya? I think it's in French. I'm so sorry. I can't. Can anybody read that?
That's red l'enfant c'est l'autre. Les autres. L'enfant c'est l'autre. Which means hell is in other people.
Ooh, thank you, Al. Wow, she speaks French.
Speak little. So,
Oh, may sasabihin ka pa ba?
Ayun, anyway.
Ayun.
I was gonna mention actually yung sinabi nga ni Miss Francia, because I realized na gusto ko i-translate sa inyo. Kasi that's one of Sart's very famous quotes. Kasi it's about that personal struggle since Sartre is an existential philosopher. Pero my favorite battling between Kant and Simone de Beauvoir. Kaso the thing is I don't understand de Beauvoir that much yet. I've only ever encountered her sa ethics, and her ethics of ambiguity is too ambiguous that I really don't understand it. But siguro Immanuel Kant wins for me as of the moment, because Kantian ethics has this idea of the of having a universalized maxim, and I think that if people just like try to think like how Kant thinks of having universalized maxims, maybe it'll be easier for more people na if kuwari, for example, the maxim that killing people is bad, if people would just universalize that, then maybe we wouldn't be in a society that would be too chaotic. Ayun lang.
Thank you. I also like Immanuel Kant curriculum because he seems like when I took ethics, his ethical theory is just very solid. Parang he really knows what he's talking about. Lalo na yung favorite ko rin yun, share ko lang yung universalizability, because it's a very like handy way of evaluating whether or not something is ethical. If everyone can do it, it's probably okay. If not everyone can do it, then it's probably not okay. And that feels very reasonable, diba? It feels very grounded in reality. Does anyone else want to share their favorite philosopher? Dai? Do you have a favorite philosopher?
Shoot.
Shoot daw.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't. And it's because, unfortunately, I took Philo 1 in the last sem, which everyone knows we didn't finish.
Yeah, I got cut short.
And we only got so far in the subject to discuss yung early philosophers, sila Thaler, and honestly, from learning about this, it's just they believe or no, yung philosophy nila, it feels like incomplete. So I can't say na yung mga philosophy is one of my favorites. So and right now, I can't say that I have a favorite.
What about a philosopher you like? Not necessarily your favorite.
I mean, it's cliche, but like from what I learned in school, probably Plato, because I don't know, there's something about what is teaching happiness comes from virtue, and it's something that everyone can relate, I think, and that's probably why he stuck in my head. And yun yung una ko na-isip when it comes to philosophy that I like.
Share ko lang nakabukas po yung philo notes ni Zai sa harap niya. Expose ko lang po siya. Thank you for sharing with us, Zai. Who else wants to share their favorite philosopher? Oh, ayan, si Rainier. Go ahead, Rainier.
Ayun, hello. So, favorite philosopher ko, si Daniel Dennett. Lagi ko siya kinu-quote sa philo class namin. Napaka-fascinating yung take niya, sa may consciousness and rationality. Sinabi niya na, consciousness and rationality is a product of evolution. Tapos second, yung take niya dun sa existentialism, naniniwala siya sa compatibilism, which means na, people are, ano, tawag din, determined tayo, pero may control din tayo sa, sa may buhay natin. So, compatible ang determinism and existentialism. So, ayun, napaka-fascinating yung nabasa ko sa kanya. I forgot ko ano yung kinote ko doon sa compatibilism, yung sinabi ko sa class namin noon na, ano yun? Wait. The question is, the question about about determinism is, whether we have control or not, but the right question is, how much do we control? Parang ganon. Nakalimutan ko yung exact quote niya doon, pero parang ganon. Ayun lang.
Thank you, Rainier. It's actually really interesting. I've never heard of this philosopher. What's his name? Daniel what?
Daniel Dennett, yeah.
Daniel Dennett. I'm gonna have to look him up. Parang interesting yung compatibilism. Tama ba?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyone else wanna share?
Meron pa ba?
Meron pa ba, guys?
Si Sam.
Tawag na lang eh.
Si Sam nag-raise siya ng hand.
Well, talaga? Di naman eh. Fake news ka.
Ayun, siguro kung wala nang gusto mag-share, ako for me, nag-isip ako kunwari, pero alam naman na, ako talaga,
Feeling ko kung alam ko kung sino.
ano naman na, parang, I'm very vocal with it, no? Although medyo scary na ilantad siya sa mga panahon ngayon. Pero ako, I've always, not always been, pero ever since I encounter this philosopher and his philosophy, talagang parang feeling ko, okay, this is it, ganon. So ako, my favorite talaga I see Marx, so Karl Marx, and in fact, I always parang identify myself as a Marxist feminist philosopher or philosophy student. So what I like about Marx, before being a Marxist, I would call myself as idealist, meaning I do believe in things that are absolute, in things that are immaterial, ganon. Kasi I was very religious then before eh. So, ayun. So, when I met Mark, pero at that time, ang daming contradictions with all those, with all those concepts. Pero when I met Marx, parang ang daming concepts with me and contradictions with my ideas na I was able to settle because of the Marxist philosophy. So what I like about that ayun, it's very scientific. So it takes away the questions on ayun nga mga mystical na bagay, yung mga immaterial na mga bagay, inconsistencies. So that's why I like it. No, it's very scientific. It's a social theory, no? Marxist philosophy is a social theory. And what I like about it ay napoprove siya through social practice, no? Because it is a social theory. So ayun, parang in my everyday life, nakikita ko yung application ng Marxist philosophy and napoprove ko yung truth ng theory na yon. So that's why I like it kasi ayun, it shows in my everyday life, in the people I interact with, in the stories of even the ordinary, especially the ordinary Filipino people that we have in our society. Yun. That's for me. Ayun. So speaking of these philosophers, and their ideas, their philosophies, I believe na when we encounter them, siguro naman may naging effect sila sa atin. Tama ba? Do you think that's true, Teddy?
True. I really agree. Every philosopher that I have ever encountered has somehow managed to change my mind at least a little bit, and thus change the way I behave and the way I conduct my life.
Ayun. So with that, I think it's appropriate no to talk about right now. Siguro in a practical way, tsaka in a day-to-day basis, sa tingin nyo, how did philosophy, no, even just reading about philosophy and knowing about it, sa tingin nyo, how did it help you personally, no, in your life? Yes, Ryan, you want to share something?
Ang i-share ko is about the Socratic method. Kung gaano
Oh.
ka-effective yung inintroduce ni Socrates na Socratic method. Kasi parang in many ways, like even sa simple na dialogue or discussion, like when parang mag-raise ng parang discourse with someone, parang you can always use the Socratic method to scrutinize yung argument ng kabilang panig. Kasi ang naisip is through Socratic method, we gain knowledge from each other through questioning. Parang through questioning yung sinasabi nga kanina, questioning the question, and actually applied Socratic method whenever na for example, even sa mga platforms like social media, like when even sa simple na pag-comment or pag-reply sa mga pino-post about, parang I think it's also a form of being charitable. Like you're not directly attacking parang hindi ka nagiging parang sobrang condescending towards yung mismong ka-argue mo, but parang kino-consider mo rin somehow through yung pure questioning mo, yung ng arguments nila. Ayun lang.
Thank you for sharing. Oh my God. Oh nga, no? Like, the Socratic method is very useful. I feel like anybody could utilize the Socratic method in their everyday life. It's a very useful thing to know about. Oh my gosh, 3 people raised their hands. I'm not sure who raised their hands first. Actually, kasi Zai took a break. He went to the bathroom, so hindi pa niya nililista. So I'm just gonna randomly guess who raised their hand first, and I'm gonna say it's Fire. Maybe it's Fire. Hindi ba? Who was it? Do you want to go first, Fire?
Actually, yeah, okay lang. Actually,
Okay.
medyo related yung yung sabihin ko sa sinabi ni Kuya Ryan. Because I was contemplating whether to answer the previous question with this answer. Because hindi ko naman favorite philosopher si Socrates because I feel like ang dami ko pang philosopher na hindi pa na-encounter. So feeling ko unfair na sabihin ko favorite ko na siya. But I think one of the things or one of the like sayings of Socrates and of philosophy in general that has really resonated with me since high school is yung sinabi niya na I know nothing. Like, it's very humbling to know na even if parang I don't know how to explain it. It's really humbling to na parang you're such a small part of the universe lang and you still have so much to learn. And really, I think that's what philosophy is for me. It's about lifelong learning and it's about correcting yourself and, earning wisdom as you grow older. So I think that quote has really resonated with me and it's something that I remember like almost every part of me.
Thank you, Fire. Actually, I really relate sa totoo lang because knowing that you know nothing, that's basically, to me, that's the only thing I'm sure of in my life, that I know nothing. Kasi I feel like it really hinders our search for knowledge and wisdom when we feel like we know as much as we can already know. Because I feel like that's just impossible, diba? It's impossible to know everything. And the best that we can do is to keep searching. And with that, you have to keep in mind that in the grand scheme of things, you probably know almost next to nothing. And that's what keeps you going, diba? So who wants to speak next? Si Ao or Ate Kai? I'm not sure who raised their hand first. But but topic daw kayo. So I'm just gonna say si Ao. Ao. Okay lang, Ate Kai? Okay.
So, ayun, very, very similar lang din. Actually, I think at some point, we're all guilty now. We tried to we were condescending at some point with our own arguments na we try to impose, 'di ba? What we think is right in our own perspective, because that's what we believe in. And philosophy has been a really good it's been really helpful with regards to that, with regards to the principle of charity, lalo na sa akin. Because sometimes it's really hard for me to argue without bias with regards to concepts or topics that I'm very biased with, that I have, like, everyone has their own prejudices. So actually, even my former philosophy professor in senior high can actually attest to that, especially with regards to religion, the topic of religion. Some people might really be very might even like just throw the principle of charity out of the window. Like, this is right. This is what I believe in. And that's the thing. When I started being exposed to ethical theories, especially those ethical theories that have created religions all over the world. It kind of makes you think na there are some things na it's every ethical concept and its execution, implementation, so how it manifests is very different. And siguro the philosophy's biggest change to me is with regards to the principle of charity, especially over topics na we we tend to have biases with, because philosophy doesn't look at that. Philosophy actually has this, like, I'm gonna use the term veil of ignorance over everything, na just like what Socrates said, na what his he was known to be the wisest man by the Oracle of Delphi because he himself acknowledges his own ignorance. And I think that's the biggest takeaway for anyone that would just be that is just being introduced to philosophy. Like, kung bago ka sa philosophy, it's like the biggest takeaway you're gonna get.
Ayun, thanks for sharing, Al. So, next is si Ate Kai. Go ahead, Ate Kai.
Okay, so originally I was gonna say the principle of charity also. Pero since nasabi na ni Alma, I don't wanna repeat it again. For me, ito din yung napag-reflect ko din, I think, recently, as in, I think, since the quarantine started, is actually, na comment na ni Mr. John Chua, like, we had the same thought, na stoicism, like, actually, philosophy helped me in a lot of ways. Pero right now, I think Stoicism, Epicureanism, ni Epicurus, I think it's one of those that are very close to my heart right now. Kasi sometimes, parang you just have to accept na there are things na unfortunate things that can happen to you na hindi mo naman kasalanan. That, it's okay to forgive yourself if you come a little short. Parang, there are things na you can't really blame yourself for anymore kasi wala na siya sa control mo. And although napaka-ambiguous nun kasi who's to say naman what's in your control and what's not. Pero right now, I think, as we discuss why pursue philosophy in this pandemic, I think it's important to internalize this idea na although we are being persuaded and forced to be productive, to think about academics right now, hashtag no student left behind, parang hindi naman, it doesn't mean na you have to do exactly that. Kasi hindi naman talaga natin kasalanan. Alam mo yun, parang nasa pandemic tayo, we should be thinking of how to survive and how to do this and how to make sure our family is safe and how to make sure our friends are safe and how to be happy and all of that. And then with all of these things going on, parang ang bilis magkaroon ng guilt and that feeling of para I could do more, I could do better than this. Pero yun nga, it's important to know, parang sa stoicism nga, na meron mga bagay na no matter how much you do things, no matter how much you think about things, na hindi talaga siya pwede mangyari. And I know that's a little informal, pero yun, I think that's one of the most important things to me right now that philosophy has contributed to me. Na it's been continuing ever since I was a freshman. So yun.
Thanks, Ate Kai. So,
Yes.
related lang sa Stoicism, should we read out yung opinion ni John Chua from the chat?
Yeah, I think so.
So, this is what John Chua said. Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism. As every day gets intolerable and many things are outside of our control, one has to come up with a resolve, and that is mental toughness. The tranquility of the mind. It helps cope up with the exigent demands of life which take a toll on our mental health. I really agree with that. Especially like the most striking thing that I learned from Stoicism is that thought process of asking yourself when you're in a tough situation. If so what you do is you imagine the worst possible outcome, the worst possible scenario that can come of your problem. And Stoicism tells you, ask yourself, is it survivable? If the answer is yes, then what do you have to worry about? Diba? To me, that has been very useful with coping up. Kasi if the worst possible thing that can happen is something that you can make through, and coupled with the reality that the worst possible thing that could happen probably won't happen, it's usually an unlikely event, then you can survive. And that can give you the edge against stressing about these problems and give you the, katulad ng sabi ni John Chua, the mental tranquility and the toughness that you need to overcome your problems. So, ayun, share ko lang. That's what I like about Stoicism.
Yeah.
Sorry, ang
Ako
dami
din,
mo
I would
sinasabi.
like to share something.
Yay.
In relation to yung mga nasabi na kanina, no, with nasabi ni Kai, ganon, and yung sinabi ni John, wala lang kasi I just think it's really nice if I could relate it to my favorite philosopher and his philosophy. Sa akin naman, if we talk about those things, you know, about the things that we are not in control of, ganon, and how we deal with it in terms of ourselves, no? So ako, parang naisip ko doon, in a way that's true when it comes to Marx. Kasi sasabihin, pwedeng masabi natin no, through Marxism na there are really things that we do and that we think of, and we think that way and we do such actions, no, not necessarily dahil alam mo yun, yun talaga yung nature natin as a tao, pero it has something to do with the system, no, and the kind of ideas that it creates, that the system creates. So parang sa akin, napareflect lang ako about, halimbawa, yung mga certain tao na gumagawa ng pwede sa law ay hindi maganda, ganon, and the reason why they're doing it. Tapos parang napa-reflect lang ako sa parang a few days na encounter ko na reality in society. Kasi I'm from Masbate. Tapos for several weeks and several months, yung province namin wala siyang COVID cases, no? And it was that way, no, for ayun nga, ever since until like a few days ago. Tapos yun, parang during that time na parang may 2 cases na meron na sa amin, no, sa province namin. I was just bothered when people started to, actually even before pa yung nagkaroon ng positive case sa probinsya namin, even before that, I was just bothered with the thought na ayun, parang na put yung blame dun sa mga taong yon na positive with COVID cases and umuwi sa probinsya. So basically the argument was that sana hindi na lang umuwi muna yung mga tao, ganon, para siguro hindi nagkaroon ng cases sa place. So ako, I was at that time, parang for me, I was bothered with that thought kasi parang ang sa isip ko, bakit sila yung may kasalanan? And siguro, why do we need to blame them na kailangan nilang umuwi. Tapos, the question is, baka kasi kailangan talaga nilang umuwi kasi baka wala silang makain, no? Wala silang trabaho. So, that reflects yung sinasabi ko kanina, no? That the system sometimes forces us to do things na wala naman sa choice natin or minsan hindi naman talaga natin gustong gawin, no? So pwedeng ganun yung nangyari, no? Hypothetical lang, no? Hindi ko sinasabi na ganun talaga nangyari. So what if there are people na walang makain, walang trabaho, walang sweldo, nawalan ng trabaho, tapos, kailangan umuwi sa probinsya. So, yung ginawa nila, pwedeng umuwi sila, ganon, kahit na hindi nila sure na infected sila or not. So, do you get what I mean? Na parang the situation calls for that action. Parang there's no other choice for them. So, minsan, ayun, minsan hindi, parang in the root cause of things, hindi yung tayo minsan yung talagang may problema or yung cause ng problem. Pero it's the situation itself, it's the system itself. Ayun. Napansin ko lang kanina no na may bago tayong kasama. Hi Andre, pwede ka bang magpakilala sa amin?
Hi!
Hi, Andre!
Hello po, good evening. I'm so sorry, late po ako nakapasok. Hi! So, paano bang sistema nito? So, ako po si Andre Davantes. Huwag kayong tumawa, natatawa na naman ako.
No, background mo sa philosophy tsaka kung paano ka na-introduced sa philosophy.
Ayun, so I'm an incoming sophomore, BA Philosophy sa UP Los Baños. And bakit pa ako nag-take ng BA Philosophy course? Hindi ko rin talaga alam kasi nung nag-take ako ng Introduction to Philosophy ng senior high, hindi ganoon kaganda yung pagkakaturo. Pero I guess dito ako nila ng destiny, charot. Dito ako dinala ng tadhana kasi gusto kong magturo sa after kong graduate and na-inspire ako ng mga professors ko ngayon sa UPLB na ituloy talaga na yung passion ko na magturo. So I guess kaya ako itinutuloy yung philosophy at wala na akong balak na mag-shift to any other courses. And so ayun.
Yay, thank you Andre for sharing with us. Si Ryan daw may gustong i-share with our discussion. Go Ryan.
Actually, gusto ko lang supportahan yung sinabi mo Kuya Jericho. Na like as bilang umuwi po ako from the city dito sa province namin. Like sobrang na-feel ko yung parang yung tawag dito, condemnation ba ng mga like yung paninisik, for example, kung bakit umuwi, sometimes ni-discourage pa na umuwi. Pero I think sobrang kasi hindi siguro nila tinitingnan siguro maybe yung situation natin doon. Like for example ako, like darating yung time na even though nasa comfort tayo ng mga kamag-anak natin darating yung time na hanapin pa rin natin yung comfort ng home na kung saan mafe-feel natin na safe tayo. So that yun yung isang reason kung bakit pinursue ko talaga na makauwi. Like ang masakit lang na sometimes is ini-invalidate yung reasons kung bakit gusto kong makauwi for the sake na parang sabihin nila na like baka makahawa or what, baka kami pa yung mauuwi yung magkalat ng virus sa pag-uwi namin. Parang tama si Kuya Jeko na it's actually the system na mali. Like it's actually them na mag-provide kung dapat yung kailangan ng mga tao para sa makauwi. And in relation pala dun kay John Chua, yung sinabi niya about kay Marcus Aurelius kanina na sobrang ganda nung yung idea niya ng mental toughness. Kung nabasa mo yung books ni about kay Marcus Aurelius, nag-gain siya ng knowledge. One of the parang ways for him to gain knowledge is dun sa mga nakasalubong niya, dun sa mga tito, mga tatay, kamag-anak, friends, like parang everyday daw you will meet ignorant and arrogant people, and doon mo ma-exercise yung mental toughness mo to enlighten them about what you know. as a philosopher, as someone who has the access to true information, and who has the reason. Yun lang. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Does anyone else have anything to share?
Ayun na ba, naghihintay tayo ng mag-volunteer. Shout out lang sa mga viewers natin sa Facebook.
Yes.
Ayan.
Sa ating Facebook
Ay,
Live.
na yung mga nag-comment. So, hello Kuya Ben. Nag-comment si Kuya Ben.
No.
Ayun. So, sige, may gusto pa bang mag-share with their favorite, with how philosophy affected them personally, ganon. Sa ano ba? Like, sa ibang bagay, like, na-apply niyo ba yung philosophy sa
Love life.
true, no?
Na-apply ba yun sa love life? Ooh! I need stoicism to keep up a good relationship.
What is love daw? What is love?
Yun. Hala, ang hirap ng question na yan. Zai is love. Yee! Joke lang.
All.
Hindi niya ako pinansin. Ang sakit. Tawa lang siya.
Ayun. So, kung wala na tayong ibang mag-share with that question, siguro with the last 20 or 30 minutes that we have for this episode, kayo ba, for our viewers naman, or for our participants for this episode, do you want to talk about anything? Or may question ba kayo with everyone dito before we conclude it with the final question natin for tonight?
Yeah. The final question is the big question. Does anyone have anything they want to talk about? Zai, ikaw.
Sa final question.
Mamaya na daw siya. Sa final question na lang.
Lalo na sa sa mga non-philo natin. Like, do you have any question or may curious ba kayong malaman, ganon, with philo?
I think I have a question. It's very unrelated. I was just wondering kasi I've been thinking a lot about Eastern philosophy and ayun nga, noticing how different it is from Western philosophy. Kayo ba? What do you prefer? Eastern or Western philosophy? I want to know. And also why? Kasi the two are so different that hindi ko they're like, one is philosophy and one is completely something else in my mind because I'm so westernized. So I just want to know, ano mas gusto niyo, Eastern or Western philosophy?
May nabasa ako dati na libro. Sa first part niya, I forgot kung anong book yun. Pero lagi kong natatandaan yung thought dun sa book na yun. Kasi diniscuss what's parang the difference, some differences with Western and Eastern thoughts or philosophy ideas. Tapos sabi doon, isa sa mga, ang natatandaan ko, isa sa difference na binanggit niya ay sa Western daw, masyadong individualistic yung mga ideas. Very individualistic, very, very, very parang American, European, with freedom, yung individual na kakayahan to achieve things, ganon. Tapos sa Eastern philosophy naman, very communal siya, very collective. Yun yung sabi doon sa libro na yun. Tapos another thing daw, and ito, sobrang na-connect ko siya with my Marxist bias. Sabi daw, when it comes to Western philosophy, mas Plato sila, mas idealist sila. When I say that, most of the time they believe na parang we define the world. So parang from our thoughts, from our ideas, we put meaning sa mundo or sa everything na nakikita natin sa mundo. Whereas sa Eastern Philo daw, our Eastern part or Eastern ideas, mas common yung idea na the reality, the environment forms our ideas or our beliefs. So baliktad siya, it's the other way around. So from outside, inside, compared sa Western na from our minds or from our inside, we pour it outside. Ayun yung natatandaan ko when it comes to that topic. Yung iba ba, may gusto ba kayong i-share?
That's like really, actually, I don't know if I read the same book, pero ganun din yung nabasa ko about the difference. It's like Western philosophy is about how things clash, while Eastern philosophy is about how things go together. And when I read about Eastern and Western philosophy, that difference becomes very obvious. Kasi like with concepts like non-duality, everything is one, as opposed to concepts like radical freedom, wherein you have all the power in the world. It's like two completely different ideas, and I'm not sure where I lean. So, sino yung una nag-raise ng hand tayo?
Wala kasi akong mag-raise hand kasi host ako.
Ako rin eh. Pero, do you wanna go first? Can I go first? Is that okay? Okay lang daw. Ikaw muna, go. Saktong plug lang po. Okay. Did you catch who's next?
Sa ate Kai kasi si Andre. Magkasabay. Magkasunod din.
Okay. So, si Ate Kai muna. Okay, go Ate Kai.
Okay. So, actually, ang hirap nung question na ano yung mas prefer. Kasi, to me, it's parang hindi naman they're totally different. Pero, I think for me, they talk about different things. Not necessarily completely different things, pero the way they approach certain subjects is different. And to be honest, ang exposure ko lang sa Eastern philosophy is Chinese philosophy. And yun nga, I mean, di natapos yung semester, kaya I've only had all of the readings and all of the notes. And actually right now na nagsiscroll ako sa notes ko, parang we did discuss nga yung difference niya. And I think from my observation lang with the whole Eastern versus Western thing, parang a Western thought is more fragmentary, tas mas holistic in Eastern. Kasi from the topic of just the self alone, parang when it comes to like the existence of people, parang the Chinese philosophy, it addresses the human existence as something that is whole, parang how the whole of this human existence relates with the other humans who also exist. Tapos yung Western naman, it focuses on certain aspects of the human condition lang. So parang as we see to it, it's more of like how can we achieve peace within ourselves with other people. How, and then yung sa Western naman, it's like, it's more of dividing the self into parts. Gets ba? Like, do you get my point? Parang, malaking concept kasi sa Eastern philosophy yung parang inner peace and inner tranquility, which we can also see naman in Western thinking. Kaso mas nag-focus talaga dun sa nature yung Eastern and how we interact with nature. Tapos mas, and on the other hand naman, Western is more of like, paano ba? It's more on how we deal with ourselves, our inner psyche within ourselves. So yun. I don't know if that made sense, pero parang ganun na nga. So, mas holistic yung sa Eastern and then mas fragmented yung sa Western. Kaya I can't really say which I prefer kasi they have different ways of thinking na I really like. So, ayun.
Thanks, Atika. That's actually, I don't know, I found that very insightful. I learned a lot from that. So, yun, thank you also from me personally. Dami ko natutunan from you. So, Zai, who on the list is next?
Si Al.
Okay, so the next on the list is Al. Go ahead, Al.
So, ayun, actually, I don't think it's gonna be any different than kung ano sinabi ni Ate Kai. Because, yeah, it's really hard to choose whether which practice you prefer. Kasi nga, they're both very similar yet also both very different. But I don't know if you get that. Pero I really don't think that both these philosophies are mutually exclusive. It's just that they approach different concepts very differently. Tas, yun nga, with the idea na Western philosophy is very individualistic while Eastern philosophy is very is inclining to collectivism, just like yung definition nga ng self na sinasabi ni Ate Kai kanina na the self within the Western philosophy's concept is this autonomous existence na it's within yourself. It's you. Like yourself, the autonomous ego, and you're distinct from any other autonomous existence. While if you're gonna look at how Eastern philosophy identifies the self, they just say that the self has actually no independent meaning. The self is not independent from its relations to other people. So, very collectivist yung ano niya, I think it reflects on how different the Western and the Eastern cultures are. Na yun nga sabi ni Kuya Jericho kanina, the Western culture, the Western philosophy's idea is very American. Na it focuses on the individual, while I think Eastern philosophy tries to focus even more. It's a bigger picture. Eastern philosophy focuses on the bigger concept, and Eastern philosophy is actually much more spiritual in nature if you're gonna look at it. Like, ang dami sa kanila is very spiritual. So, I don't think, I'm not sure if anyone can answer which practice they prefer kasi nga, these two practices actually have different approaches over different concepts. Pero they also still have the same similarity na ang foundation nila is virtue. They still go back down to virtue. Ayun.
Thanks for sharing, Al. And then the next person on the list is si Andre. Go ahead, Andre.
Ayun, thank you. So I also share the same sentiment with Al na mahirap nga talagang mamili kung Eastern philosophy or Western philosophy. Pero siguro for now, to answer the question, Western philosophy, since hindi pa ako nakaka-take ng course na, like for example, yung Chinese philosophy na tinitake ni Ate Kai. So, to answer the question naman kung ano sa tingin ko yung difference, meron akong nabasa na, I'm not sure if it's an article or a journal dati, na nagdi-differentiate kung ano yung Eastern and Western. And correct me if I'm wrong, pero I think yung Eastern philosophy kasi is sobrang lapit lang sa Eastern religion na parang hindi siya nagkakala yung dalawa masyado. Like Buddhism, for example, pakitama na lang ako kung mali yung sinabi ko. So, and I think na yung major difference nilang dalawa is that when it comes to Eastern philosophy, para siyang descriptive or para siyang prescriptive yung approach nila kapag ine-explain yung philosophy, while kapag Western philosophy, Western philosophy naman is more on argumentative yung approach nila since parang clash siya ng ideas ng mga philosophers. So I think yun yung major difference nilang dalawa kasi since say for example sa Buddhism, kapag gusto mong i-follow ang mga teachings ni Buddha, you ask, how can I achieve peace? And then you learn how to achieve peace through the Buddhism way, and wala kang argumento na pwedeng iba to doon kasi more on parang very prescriptive yung kanyang philosophy. While pag Western philosophy, pwede mong i-counter yung i-offer sa'yo ng mga arguments. So very skeptical kapag Western philosophy. So I think that's one of the difference ng Eastern and Western.
Thank you for sharing, Andre. Oo nga. Honestly, with the way that the discussion is going, I'm learning a lot, but I'm also having a hard time. Kasi they're so different from one another that it's difficult to compare. And, si Marian pala gusto magsalita. Go ahead, Marian.
Okay. Wala akong masyadong background on Eastern and Western philosophy, pero there's this movie, it's called The Farewell. Alam niyo ba yun? Okay, so it revolves around the plot na this protagonist, her name is Billy. So overseas worker, she's an overseas Chinese worker. Sa US siya nagwo-work. Tapos may moral dilemma siya na her grandmother has a terminal illness na she's certain to die in a number of months. Tapos so parang she has this urge to tell her grandmother the truth na she's about to die. Tapos her family's holding her back, sinasabi na no, you shouldn't tell her na she's going to die. She's going to die, ganon. Parang it's a clash between Western and Eastern philosophy. Kasi sa Western philosophy, it's like Kuya Jeko said, it's more individualistic. Parang it's more liberal. It focuses on the self. While yung Eastern philosophy, it's holistic. It's very communal. So yeah, she's faced with this dilemma whether or not to tell her grandmother that she's going to die. So parang I just want to ask your opinion kung anong gagawin nyo if you were Billy in this situation. Would you tell your grandmother that she's about to die? Yun, based on Western philosophy or sa Eastern philosophy na very family-oriented, very communal. So, and yun, i-justify niya through Eastern or Western philosophy just to steer things up, Ano yung opinion nyo kung ganun yung dilemma?
Thank you, Marian. That is a really good question. That's a really good dilemma. Ganda ng thought experiment. Does anybody have an answer? Does anybody want to answer? Or nag-iisip pa tayong lahat? Kasi ako rin nag-iisip ako ng sagot. What would I do?
Sige, habang nag-iisip kayo ng sagot, I'll just read yung sinabi ni Francisco Pantaleon sa chat box. So isip muna kayo dyan habang I'll read the answer. So sabi niya, when it comes to the topic kanina, the difference of Western and Eastern thought is evident in the present social structure of both realms. So Western thought was able to provide the foundation for impressive scientific development and political ideas. More than that, the moral basis of Western philosophy, specifically Christianity, served as the stepping stone of modern Western culture. Eastern thought, on the other hand, was not as robust as Western thought. If you compare the development of both realms, the difference is quite apparent. Ayun.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot I want to say about that. But also, I feel like I might just be misunderstanding kasi wala akong context with regards to Francisco's opinion. Gets ba? Parang, for example, I don't really know what this person means by Eastern philosophy not being as robust. And also, I don't know enough about the history of Western philosophy to question the idea that mas robust ang Western philosophy on the basis of morality and the development of science and politics and Christianity. So, parang I just want to ask Francisco for some context about his opinion. Parang elaborate lang para mas maintindihan ko kasi I don't really it's probably my fault. It's probably my lack of knowledge. Pero hindi ko masyadong gets. I mean, I get what he's trying to say, but whether or not it's like very truthful, I'm not sure. Kasi hindi ko nga, wala akong context. Yun lang. Oh, may sinabi rin si Ate Kai. Oh, robust in the sense, sabi ni Francisco, robust in the sense that Western philosophy addresses more anthropological, sociological, etc. aspects of the human person. I also don't know if Eastern philosophy doesn't do this or does do this. You know what this is making me think? I feel like Philosoph should explore Eastern philosophy more. Because our opinions are I feel like all of our opinions are very skewed in favor of Western philosophy because our background is highly Western. We don't have enough knowledge on Eastern philosophy to really
Yeah.
have a well-rounded, holistic opinion about it. I mean, for the members of Philosoph lang. So, suggest ko lang guys, maybe we can make that one of our topics sa Omilia, Eastern philosophy.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Well, totoo naman na in philo curriculum, at least in our curriculum, I don't know about the curriculum of other school, pero at least in our curriculum, mas madami talaga yung Western philosophers, Western thoughts. Although sa bagong curriculum na since 2018, I believe they're really striving to add more Eastern thoughts and Eastern philosophers. For example, I think nagkakaroon ng usapan about like including Indian philosophy. Like I remember my professor telling us that, no, tama ba Kai? Right, sinabi yun sa atin dati. So yun, there are efforts to like include more Eastern philo. Ayun.
That
Yung
sounds
iba ba?
awesome.
Mm-mm.
Sana we can join as an organization, as a field org, we also join in the effort, diba?
Yes,
That would
that's
be
true.
Anyone else want to say anything?
The answer
Sa question ni Marian.
Oo nga, about Marian's question. Oh my God, I don't know what I would do. I'm still thinking. Has anybody thought about Marian's question enough? Thanks for sharing, Zai. I think I would do the same. I think if my grandmother were about to die and it was up to me whether or not she finds out. Okay. For this answer, I'm going to assume that my grandmother is not my grandmother. Kasi my actual grandmother would not handle it very well. Pero if I think about it in a philosophical way, like let's say not my grandmother, somebody stronger, like maybe my mom. I think I would tell them that they were about to die based on I can't remember. I think it was Kant. Kant is like super against hiding the truth because hiding the truth is basically lying. And if I understood it correctly in ethics class, when you lie to somebody, when you keep the truth from them, you also deprive them of their autonomy. So I feel like if somebody is about to die, they should have autonomy about how they're going to live the rest of their life that they have, how much ever of it they have left, with full knowledge of how much time that they have left. They should know all the facts if they're going to live their life well. So for me, even though it's difficult and it might hurt them, it might shock them at first, I believe in the strength of people in accepting that death is a normal part of life. And I trust that this member of my family will be able to overcome the fear of dying and be able to live their life well, knowing that they are about to die. Kasi, I mean, what really makes that it different from any other person? Because we all know that we're going to die at some point. The only difference really is that you know when. So, to me, it shouldn't be that different. Iyan lang. That's all I have to say. Does anyone else have any ideas? Ayun, si Andre. Go ahead.
Hi. So, yung sagot ko sa tanong kung ano yung gagawin ko, siguro i-relate ko siya sa isa sa mga favorite topics ko sa Ethics 1 nung first sem namin, which is alam to ng mga kaklase ko, it's the ethics of care. So, tuwang-tuwa talaga ako nung inaral yung theory na yon ng ethical theory kasi parang mas nakarelate ako ng sobra dun. So, to answer Marian's question kanina, kakonsider ko siguro kung it is the best interest ba ng lola ko na malaman niya if mamamatay siya or hindi. And malalaman ko lang yun if i-evaluate ko yung relationship naming dalawa, kung gaano ko siya kakilala. And ako personally, kung like real life lola ko talaga is she would like to know kung siya ba ay mamamatay na or hindi pa kasi gusto niya laging prepared sa mga bagay-bagay. Ayaw niya yung ayaw niya ng mga biglaan, gano'n. So kung sabihin ko sa kanya, no, lang, mamamatay ka na next week, o paplanuin na niya kung paano niya i-spend yung time niya na natitira sa kanya. And I think yun yung answer ko kay Marian. I will use the ethics of care and check ko kung ano yung best interest sa lola ko.
Wow.
Thank you for that wonderful answer, Andre. Ang ganda ng ethics of care. That was good, no?
Mm-hmm. Ayun, so siguro since medyo malapit na tayong matapos, I'll just go with the second to the last question. I just want to masingit tong question na to, then we'll go ahead sa parang main question natin for tonight. Siguro before we go to the main question, I would just like to ask, kasi we've been building philosophy, as a discipline and as a subject, ganon. So I think it's only fair for us to go and face the other side, no? Because we've been saying about charity, and of course, the philosophy, it's really not a balance kapag we don't handle and we don't talk about the ugly side of things. So ngayon, siguro the question is, do you think, with everything that we've said, with philosophy being nice and being good, sa tingin nyo, ano yung not so good or the ugly truths and ugly side of philosophy? Is there anyone na pwedeng mag-share about this?
Oh, si Ate Kai. Go, Ate Kai.
Marami. Char. Actually, I think one of the main things na parang that came to my mind instantly nung I heard the question was, may tendency kasi yung philosophy, di ba? Kasi let's lay down the facts, di ba? Una, philosophy, wala tayong talagang certainty about anything. Wala tayong concrete answer to all the questions we have. And with that comes the problem na paano natin mo overcome yung pagiging subjective, di ba? I think that's a very important problem that we face today. Moral subjectivity, cultural subjectivity, all kinds of subjectivity. Kasi, well, everyone can say na, well, lahat naman kasi relative eh. Depende na lang kung ano pinapaniwalaan mo. Diba? So parang, how do we overcome this dilemma na parang if you're just always stuck in the idea na respetuhin mo na lang yung kultura ng iba or respetuhin mo na lang yung kung ano man yung opinion ng iba. Kasi lahat naman ng answers natin relative, di ba? Lahat naman ng pinapaniwalaan natin subjective, galing sa experience ko. Kaya parang philosophy has a tendency to go to that direction na it's something that we can overcome if we have a proper discussion about it, pero it's something that we can't really avoid, especially if you've had philosophical discussions in ethics. You should know what I'm saying. Kasi there's always that one person who's going to be like, well, relative naman yung truth ng isang tao to this other person. Kaya parang, saan na mapupunta yung discussion natin if we just keep on going to that relativity and subjectivity, if we always keep honoring that? Which is, you know, we always want to be charitable in the sense na let's take one another's opinion, one another's stance as the strongest as it can be. Kaso yun nga, how do we overcome that? And until now, I can't find an answer to that. So that's something na I think us philosophers need to overcome. So yeah.
Thank you, Kai. Before tayo pumunta sa next share, I just want to respond to that. Tama yun, no, na isang sobrang danger and sana iniiwasan natin in philosophy ay yung relativism talaga. And ako personally, as much as I'm against dogmatism, no, I'm also against relativism, no. And ako, tingin ko lang, tingin ko ito yung nangyayari, no. Sometimes we parang may confusion tayo with relativism, and if you know Aristotle, yung eudaimonia ni Aristotle, or yung basically the idea of constant learning and constant improving your thoughts, your ideas, your practices, constant correcting it and recorrecting it. I think may ganong confusion na parang minsan we think of those two things as the same thing. Na sa tingin ko, hindi yun, magkaiba sila. Na tingin ko, naniniwala ako sa freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and ayun, masabi yung mga naiisip natin at mga nararamdaman natin. Pero I also believe that not every opinion and every idea is correct. No? Na lahat ng opinion natin at lahat ng ideas natin ay may imperfections at may shortcomings at talagang merong mga maling opinion. Na I think kapag alam natin na mali yung mga bagay na yun, we have the responsibility to correct it, no? To not normalize it and to go against it. So, doon napapasok yung responsibility natin to correct it, no? So, hindi pa pwedeng parang opinion ko to, gano'n na I will believe what I want to believe, no? Kung mali naman yung opinion na yon, may responsibility to correct it. And doon napapasok yung eudaimonia nga ni Aristotle. It's the constant learning, no, the lifelong learning, the lifelong na pag-aaral at pag-aalam. So, tingin ko doon nagkakaproblema minsan. Ayun. So, sino yung nakataas kanina ng kamay?
Zay, sino yung nakataas kanina?
I didn't get it. Sorry.
Oh, ba't kayo nagbaba? Do you guys still want to say something?
Sorry.
Or wala na?
Wala na.
I think there's, ito, may gustong sabihin ulit si Francisco Pantaleon in the chat. Francisco says, many concepts and ideas can be misinterpreted and misconstrued in various ways, such as the case of Nazi ideology, quote-unquote, adapting Nietzsche's works, which in fact is not at all true. Philosophy as the pursuit of the truth can stray away from that direct line of thinking and move towards rather a pursuit of pseudo-truth. That is so true. Many ideas can be grossly misused for very evil intentions. Yes.
That's true. Kaya minsan hindi totoo na Marxist ang China. Tara! Ayan.
I agree. but that's besides the point.
Oo. Ayun. So, meron pa ba? Gusto pa bang mag-share about sa nakikita niyong ugly truths about philosophy or ugly side ng philosophy? Siguro if you're still thinking, ako one thing, since magkasabay kami nag-feminist philo ni Kyla, isa talaga sa pinaka parang shooken factor ako nung class ko sa philo ay parang all this time I was studying philosophy pero never sumagi sa utak ko na yung mga pinagbabasa ko ng mga thoughts and ideas ay mostly 99% came from male philosophers.
Boo.
And there has been a direct parang effort to parang shove away female philosophers in the narrative of philosophy. And I believe because, it's true na very male-centric ang philosophy.
Really?
Just as,
philosophy is sexist?
Yeah. Hindi naman sexist, pero it has a lot of emphasis on the ideas of male philosophers and sometimes sexist philosophers. And that's why meron tayong mga ideas ngayon na sexist in nature. For example, si Aristotle, the way she defined women. Freud, the very famous
Penis
Freud.
envy. Penis envy.
Ayun, so may gusto bang sabihin si Kai? May gusto kang sabihin about that, Kai?
No, actually, like, in addition to what you said, kasi sobrang shock talaga ako nung when I read our readings, kasi ano ba yun? It was Aristotle who said na, or was it Plato, na, ano yun? Women are just
deformed.
Parang men na incomplete, ganon. So parang imagine mo, all of the philosophical doctrines that are very famous right now, which are very prominent, yung mga line of thinking na ganon, it came from philosophers who didn't treat women as equal to men. So, imagine mo, kasi in direct support to what Kuya Jeko said din kanina na there's actually an effort to exclude women from the narrative. Kaya parang, that's why until now, parang, I think the freshies here can attest to that na wala pa kayong you're not hearing voices of female philosophers aside from Simone de Beauvoir, di ba? Like, did you guys know na meron palang ancient philosopher na babae? Pero, they don't talk about that kasi as far as the philosophers know, parang hindi daw siya significant. And then, parang imagine mo, like yung care ethics, it could have been just as prominent as other branches of philosophy, pero it's not kasi it's not being talked about. Kaya parang, ayun nga, parang we can, parang you're just gonna be stuck in the imagination. What if female philosophers were just regarded as highly, as greatly as their male counterparts? And di sana we have so much knowledge we can know about now, like knowledge about women and women's experiences. Kaya, I highly recommend parang reading feminist philosophy talaga kasi it has a lot of works written by women for women. Kaya it's a very great read. So, yeah. That's it.
Ayun. Andre, may gusto ka bang idagdag?
di naman sa idadagdag, pero parang more on a question siya. So, if aware po tayo na may ganitong klase ng pangyayari na karamihan talaga ng binabasa natin, ang mga works, ang mga readings natin ay more on male philosophers, wala po bang effort tayong mga philosophers in this age na idagdag yung mga or palitan yung mga sa tingin natin ay mga medyo sexist na remarks noon ng mga philosophers na kilala natin, and pagbigyan natin ng more on highlight yung mga female philosophers na alam natin yun. And meron akong hinahanap na article just right now na nabasa ko dati na merong parang ancient philosopher na babae pero hindi natin siya kilala. Hindi natin siya kilala kasi binaon siya sa limot ng history. Pero apparently, nung binasa ko yung buhay niya, is sobrang laki pala ng kanyang ambag. Pero yung male na kasama niya, yung parang nabibigyan ng credit. And hinahanap ko ngayon yung pangalan niya. So I'll get back to that later.
Yeah. So ayun, I think I'll just, before I answer that, I'll just address yung comment ni Francisco, no. Actually, tama yun, no. Hindi naman, I don't think it's not that philosophy is sexist. It's more of, it was male-centric, no. Very prominent yung male philosophers at that time compared to female philosophers. And totoo yung sinabi niya na that's because of the context of that time. No, natotoo naman na at that time, women were still viewed as ganon, na lesser than men, ganon. And pero I think that the context that time was that dahil din sa mga ideas ng mga philosophers nung time na yon, no? And pero yun, no, just to clarify, it's not to say na philosophy is sexist. It's more of saying na philosophy was very, very male dominated, no, for the longest time. And now going to Andre's question kanina, I think there is a lot of effort now to highlight more women philosophers and thoughts and ideas, no, written by women and for women. And that's why also we have feminist philosophy, no. Basically, that's the aim of feminist philosophy, no. Sino nga yun, si Flax, no? That was the philosopher, si Flax, no. Sabi ni Flax, literature, no, for the longest time was dominated by male writers, and even literature about women, no, are written by men, no, with the lens of men or with the perspective of men, no. So sabi niya, the challenge na sinabi no ni Flax ay for women to write for themselves, no, for women to write their own story, no, and their own struggles para ma-counter yung male-dominated literature when it comes to philosophy, when it comes to any other kind of literature. So yun yung naging challenge niya with female writers, no, to write for themselves and to write for women, no, para ma-counter ngayon yung pagiging male-dominated no philosophy. And I think no, that's also the parang effort with other feminist philosophers that we had, no, for other times. Ayun, may gusto bang sumagot pa? If wala na, I think let's go with our final question, no. Now that we encountered yung mga not so good side of philosophy, syempre let's back with building philosophy, no, up, no. And I mean, the main inspiration naman of doing this episode tonight is to basically encourage non-philo majors and other people na medyo may interest with philosophy to pursue philosophy, especially right now in our time, in our current setup. No? So siguro last question for everyone, no, to encourage our viewers na nag-iisip na mag-take ng philosophy or kung hindi man as a course, no, just to pursue it no in as a hobby, no, or yeah, just reading philosophy. So do you think, guys, why should we pursue philosophy, no? Especially during this time, no, our current political climate, no, our current situation with the pandemic. Ayun. So, what do you think? Why should we pursue philosophy? Yes, Zai?
Ayun, thank you
Thank you,
very much,
Zai.
Zai. I think Andre has something to say. Go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, siguro for me, bakit kailangan natin i-pursue yung philosophy is siguro, i-relate ko siya sa kung ano yung natutunan ko sa first year ko sa philosophy. And ayun yung wag kang matakot na i-express yung kung ano yung gusto mong sabihin, kung ano yung gusto mo ipahiwati. Kasi dati nung hindi pa ako philosophy major, parang ano ko dogmatic kung sasabihin na parang kung ano yung nandiyan, sige accept ko yan kasi ayokong makipagtalo, ayokong makipag-argumento kasi hindi ako confident sa kung sasabihin ko. But philosophy changed that. Hindi na ako tulad ng dati na kung ano yung sabihin sa akin ng isang tao ay parang sabihin ko na lang, sige, agree na lang din ako sa iyo, ayoko na makipagtalo. No, hindi tayo dapat gano'n. Especially right now na madaming tao na ay hindi pa ganoon kamulat sa nangyayari sa ating paligid, sa ating bansa. And I think philosophy is very important doon, no? Kasi dito sa philosophy, natutunan ko maging argumentative, natutunan ko kung paano i-express yung opinions ko on a charitable way na hindi ko binabastos yung kausap ko. And I think that's very important sa pakikipag-usap and sharing your knowledge and thoughts to another person. And I think that's very important na having a dialogue kasi yung nagsisigawan lang kayo and nag-sharing kayo ng parang wala nang mga kwenta-kwenta and mga ad hominem na mga salita. And I think dapat alam natin, aware tayo sa mga ganong bagay para maging meaningful yung ating pag-uusap. So I think that's why we should pursue philosophy.
That was a great answer, Andre. And I would share ko lang, I agree a lot because discourse is so important, di ba? And it's something that we all need to work towards developing, especially today that the political environment of the Philippines is so hot and it's so difficult to exist in. So I think next on the list who wants to say something is si Ao. So go ahead, Ao.
I'm just gonna I actually share Andre's sentiments nga na like at some point any of us could have been dogmatic at some point. Any of us could have been like very complacent at some point. And philosophy actually like it hinders you to be complacent. It doesn't let you be complacent, not even 1 second, if you actually really practice it. It lets you be open to scrutinizing everything you thought you believe in. It lets you become even more critical with everything that's happening around you. And a lot of philosophical concepts and theories are actually very applicable regardless of what time frame they were in the history of philosophy. Like kahit saan mo especially sa political climate natin ngayon, it like ang dami mo makikitang concepts and philosophy that could actually explain why these things are happening and also try to like let you question even more if such things happening should be acceptable to you. Kasi nga like some people have already found it very normal na these kinds of things happen, and philosophy doesn't enable you to do that. Like it doesn't let you accept any normal you thought you knew, you can never be complacent with it. Like what I said, yung definition ko ng philosophy kanina, it keeps you wondering. Tapos hindi ka titigil sa kaka-wonder. It lets you be even more critical with everything around you, and hindi ka magkakaroon ng only one opinion about anything. There's always gonna be like three sides to the coin. It's not gonna be two sides. There's gonna be three sides of the argument. And it lets you become even more open to healthy discussions rather than yung sinasabi nga ni Andre na makikipagsigawan ka to prove your point just so you would sound condescending or you would sound smart. Philosophy lets you know na you don't know that much, and that's fine, which is why it opens you up more to try to know some more, and your opinion always changes kasi you always end up knowing more. Ayun.
Thank you, Al. Sige, Ryan, you can go ahead.
I just want to share na simula nung parang pinili ko yung philosophy, nung pinakang-una yung idea ko is ang philosophy is parang way lang for me to take law in the future, Pero mali yung thinking na yun, Kasi philosophy itself is a discipline na we need to learn, especially during this pandemic. Actually, ngayong pandemic, sobrang daming lumitaw rin na issues, kasi hindi naman nawawala, like about sa transgenders, yung issues, like for example, yung sa funds ng government, yung inappropriation, for example, like that, So, ang ginagawa ko is actually, nagda-download ako ng mga PDFs, about dun sa mga topics na yon, and I really, parang nagpo-provide ako ng time to read those, So, for now, parang dahil dun sa transgender na example na nagiging issue ngayon, parang magbabasa ako about gender studies, So, ito yung actually yung role ng philosophy ngayong pandemic na amid yung mga issues na umaangat, we need to read and read and read, and to practice philosophy. Like, ang main role ngayon natin is to educate, kasi I know na many of us have the access to true information, and it's our role to enlighten every people. Kasi as we know, even parang i-accept na natin na sa lahat ng platform, social media or sa araw-araw nating pamumuhay, there are people na parang can't accept yung idea na parang tama yung kabilang side kasi yung idea lang nila yung pinapakinggan nila. So parang ino-open natin ngayon ino-open natin ngayon yung ibang tao sa many forms ng ideas na hindi lang isang idea yung nag-exist and through parang yung logic parang through yung pag-educate natin gamit ang napag-aralan natin sa logic na hindi lahat is madadala sa personal attacks kasi yun yung parang doon na karamihan nagre-resort sa personal attacks kapag wala ka ng rational na argument. So I think parang before parang sobrang halaga kasi ng principle of charity kasi parang before talaga natin parang sabihin sa mga tao yung mga yung imposing na words or I think kailangan muna natin na try and try to educate or dumali talaga na mag-impose tayo ng ideas natin to people somehow is if we have the opportunity to educate through philosophy. Ayun, thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing, Ryan. Does anyone else have something that they want to say? Oh, si Sam. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, hello. I just wanna go back to the question, what is philosophy? Parang kasi whenever that question pops out, parang I always find it hard to answer. Kasi I feel like there's always a little bit of irony when you ask that question, because it's the exact type of question that philosophers ask that's always impossible to answer. I mean, philosophers do it all the time, like philosophizing. They pick some arbitrary topic that no one really cares about or no one really talks about, and then they try to get to the bottom of it, like what is a chair? Could there be an objective truth? Ganyan. But now I completely understand the value of asking questions like that. And philosophy is full of development that we've come to because of questions like that. But sometimes I find that people completely ignore the fascinating stuff that philosophy offers. I mean, we never really talk about how different the world would be if philosophy never existed. People never realized how much of the world where they live in has been shaped by the thoughts and doctrines of previous philosophers, and it's because of the fact that when philosophers have had massive breakthroughs, people always look back on it and they don't think about it as philosophy. So, for example, um, the Pythagorean theorem, ganyan ganyan, parang that's seen as a triumph of mathematics, ganyan, and not as philosophy. So my point is, I just wish that philo would be appreciated more. I just wish that philo would be appreciated more and be credited for all its wonder. So quite literally, parang philosophy is just love of wisdom, ganyan. Um, coming from the Greek words philo, which means love, and the other is sophia. So quite literally, philosophy is just the love of wisdom. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Sam. That was a great answer. I think mayroon din akong gustong sabihin about why I think philosophy is worth pursuing. I'll be very honest. I actually have a hard time articulating why I think philosophy is worth pursuing because it's not a very concrete thing to me. So I'm just gonna try to explain why I think it's worth pursuing in the form of like a metaphor. To me kasi, discovering philosophy and the first time I was ever able to study it felt like what it feels like when imagine your whole life you've only been swimming in kiddie pools until the day comes that your parents take you to the beach and suddenly you discover an entire ocean out there. That's what philosophy is to me. It's having this world that is so small and so certain and so absolute completely shattered and replaced with this ginormous, limitless, infinite body of wisdom and knowledge that you could never really grasp. And for me, philosophy is not trying to put the ocean in the jar. Because if, like, let's say the ocean is everything you could possibly ever know in your lifetime. If you put the ocean in the jar, it's not the ocean anymore. And you can't say that you have the ocean. You can't say that you understand the ocean or that you experience the ocean. So the best thing that you can do is to take a swim in the ocean. And to me, that's what exploring philosophy is like. Instead of trying to put the ocean in the jar and saying you understand everything, you realize that you can never touch every drop of the ocean, but you swim anyway. So for me, that's what I think philosophy. That's why I think philosophy is worth pursuing. Yun lang po.
Yay! Thank you, Teddy. Ayun. So I think, grabe no, nakaka-poetic. Ano? Ayun, siguro just to end our night. Grabe yung effect kay Zai. Ayun, siguro just to end this episode, I'll end it with my personal sharing then about why we should pursue philosophy. For me, I think I'll start with another thing na negative about philosophy, which is sometimes philosophy can be in an ivory tower, kumbaga, or can be something na in a pedestal. No, it can be a very intellectual thing. Na minsan hindi siya ma-consume agad ng mga ordinaryo na tao, or for example, those who does not have the privilege of studying in a school or in a university, no? And sometimes ayun, we do philosophy na hindi siya package for the ordinary people or those who cannot afford education, no, na ma-absorb nila. And because of that, kaya minsan nagiging purely intellectual yung philosophy and like in a pedestal or in an ivory tower. Ganon. I think that's a negative thing na pwedeng mangyari with philosophy, but also like hindi ganon yung philosophy like at all times. I think also philosophy can be used na for the people or for the poor or for the marginalized, no? Kasi for example, we have for example theories na that was written, no, and explained, no, for the benefit of those na hindi privilege or hindi nasa kumbaga upper nung natin. For example, sabi ko nga si Marx, ganon yung mga theory nila. So it can be used for purely intellectual thing, pero it can also be used to free people from their struggles, no? To free people from yun yung mga paghihirap nila. With that, I would go sa siguro my pitch as to why our viewers, no, as to why people out there should pursue philosophy, whether professionally or whether as a hobby. One thing I really had with philosophy is the confidence. No? The same thing na nasabi kanina nila Andre, no, nila Au. Because of philosophy, I achieved the level of confidence that allows me to interact with people, no, to not parang magdalawang isip, to share my thoughts and to be firm with my thoughts, but at the same time, always having in mind na I could be wrong, na I could learn something from this. No? So, ayun, I think that confidence that philosophy can give you is very important. Kasi nga, ayun nga, sabi nila kanina, there are times na kapag hindi tayo confident na magsalita, ay minsan nasa silence na lang tayo. And that's another thing, no? When you have the confidence that philosophy can give you, there are more times na hindi na lang tayo tatahimik just because we're not sure or we're doubtful of ourselves. No? I do think na when you pursue philosophy, there's a lot of chance that you will be, smarter, no? Hindi lang in a bookish way, pero, in a way na you can really converse with people and you can really have that confidence to share your thoughts, no? And another thing ay ayun, parang kapag alam mo kasi kung where do you stand, kumbaga, you will have that confidence in yourself. For I say that kasi parang before I encountered Marxist philo, I don't know if ganito kayo ngayon, no? Pero before that, parang I was floating, kumbaga. Kasi parang palipat-lipat ako ng thoughts or ng ideas or ng philosopher na gagamitin ko. Parang wala akong certainty. I think you know that feeling, no? Yung parang walang certainty kasi may ganitong thought, parang ang daming pwedeng pagpilian. Pero when I encountered Marxist philosophy, parang natutunan ko yung philosophy na sabi ko, I think ito yung parang personal stand ko, no? But that doesn't mean na I'm not open to, to learning more. Pero ayun, and because of that, I become more confident of who I am, of what I believe in, and what are my stances when it comes to issues. And I think that's very important, no, for all our viewers that will pursue our philosophy. And just to share, how it manifests in reality. I just want to share this kasi kaninang hapon lang nangyari to. So, I experienced dati na, I mean, during a rally, na, I mean, alam nyo naman, di ba, yung mga nangyayari ngayon sa society, no, na with the anti-terror bill, no, just a few days becoming a law, yung mismo pag-rally, natitingnan siya as, as not something na normal or not something na included in our right. So, during the rally, no, habang medyo matagal na yung rally, then a few police officers, no, ay pumunta, no, or pinuntuhan yung mga nagrarally. And you know me, I am part of Perspective, so I was documenting the rally. Tapos, these police officers, no, they went and kinausap nila yung mga nag-organize ng rally. And basically, they were telling them na to stop the rally. So, habang nangyayari yun, there were other press, members of the press na documenting. Kasi nga, nandun na yung mga police. So, they were documenting in case that something terrible will happen. No, baka hulihin yung mga tao, ganun. So, they were documenting, they were taking pictures, they were taking videos. Tapos ayun, biglang itong si police ay bigla niyang threaten ngayon yung mga press na nandun na nag-document na basically pinapatigil niya yung mga nagtitake ng videos, nagtitake ng pictures to stop, no? Tapos, when I saw that, na pinapatigil nila yon, no? Syempre mali yun, di ba? Kasi media yun eh. I mean, that's their job. So ako naman, na as a press din, as a media, so when I saw that, kinunan ko, no, just for the evidence that they were doing that. Now, they noticed me taking the picture. Tapos ayun, nilapitan nila ako, and then the police said, anong gusto mo? Kumpiskahin namin yung camera mo. That experience, before that experience, was something I was just saying or I was just discussing before as theory. No, I was just talking about press freedom and all that freedom as a matter of ideas. But when that happened to me, it was suddenly parang real in flesh. No, the theories that I was talking about before was real in flesh. And really, when you were at that moment, talagang parang at that time parang na stun ako for a moment. Pero you know what? Parang doing philosophy and uh, knowing things through philosophy, that made me confident with what I was doing. No, with no, because I know why it should be done. No, and I know na tama yung ginagawa ko, and I knew that through philosophy. So I think no, that's basically what I'm saying right now. That's how philosophy can help you. Basically, having more confidence with who you are and what you believe in and what you do. Ayun lang. So I hope every one of us enjoyed tonight, no? This is a bit more relaxed, no? A bit more just sharing lang. Pero I think I believe and I hope na it's just as educational, no? And for every one of us. Ayun. Ikaw ba, Teddy? How's tonight for you?
I really enjoyed tonight because I feel like not only did I learn a lot, but I also learned a lot about the people in this discussion, which is always a delight, of course. And I would just like to say I'm very thankful that everybody has been so participative tonight, that we were all able to share ideas and listen to one another, because that is really a great experience, I think, for everybody.
Okay. Ayun. So thank you again for everyone sa mga nagpuyat with us tonight.
Yes,
Although alam
thank
ko
you.
na at this time, hindi pa naman to oras ng tulugan because masyado na tayong nasanay with sleeping late. Pero ayun,
So
thank you
true.
for participating, and we hope that you join us again for our next episode. Hopefully, we will have the next episode on July 4, hopefully, but we will update you on that. And please join us again. Just like our Facebook page for our announcement and like our YouTube channel for our previous episodes. We also have, basically for the Facebook page, we have the Philosophical Society of UPLB. And then for our YouTube channel, we have Philosoc UPLB. And we have also Instagram. That's Philosoc UPLB also. Ayun. Ayun. So, do you have
Yon,
anything
thank you.
else to say, Teddy? Or
I
none?
think I don't have anything to say except thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
A special thanks kay Zai, our one-man tech team. He did so well tonight.
Thank you also for our guests, si John Shua, si Francisco, and then,
Si Miss Francia kanina.
yeah, si Francia. Ayun. And for all our viewers then sa Facebook, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. And good night, friends. Bye-bye.
Good night.